Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Media Review Podcast. Your co hosts Madison and Brooke are here today to discuss the magazines that we've both recently finished in our respective genres. Was there something further you wanted to discuss today, Brooke? I believe there was something specific that we really felt we needed to talk about today.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about how our product uses or challenges conventions and how it represents different social groups or issues.
Yeah, definitely. That's a super important topic. We definitely should talk a little more about that. But I think before we go in and really break the ice, we should look into each other's magazines more. Maybe give each other a little background so we know more about what we're talking about here
Okay,
today.
yeah, sounds great. Do you want to start first or me?
You can go ahead. No worries. Or it's fine. I mean, I could go too. It really doesn't matter to me. So today, I was thinking about talking about my cover, my double page spread, my table of contents, and all sorts of things. So my magazine is called Match Point Tennis, and we're really focusing on up and coming players, new athletes, and just giving tips to players and coaches, all of that stuff. So we're inspired by other tennis magazines like USTA or just Tennis Magazine, and our aim is to really foster the love that people have for the sport. That's really who we're trying to connect with in our audience. And we're trying to make sure that they feel that all people are welcome in tennis and something like that, which is why I think talking about challenging conventions and stuff like that is super, super important. And what was your magazine about again?
Yeah, my magazine is called The Barker, and it's a dog magazine. So I wanted to base it off of common magazines like Modern Dog, City Dog, or Dog Life. And the twist I put on mine was that each edition would be a different state or a different part of the world. So the edition I worked on was the Florida edition, and I called it the Sunny Side.
Oh, I like that a lot. I did a similar concept in mine. I had in my double page spread, I had a thing called Florida's Best, where I outlined why it was the best tennis capital in the world. But I think this is actually one of the areas in which I challenged conventions because I chose to focus not just on superficial things, but I also tackled things like tourism and stuff in tennis. Like I referenced, one of the reasons why Florida would be the tennis capital of the world includes the sunset. So I think challenging that convention really moved away from the ideals that tennis players are athletes who are rich or wealthy and have to be affluent. No, they're just people who can enjoy their sport and appreciate the simple things in life. Is there some way that you did that too in yours?
Wow, Madison, I actually really like what you did there. Well, what I did for my magazine is, unlike a normal dog magazine, mine included a lot more wording. And what I liked about this is not only would the magazine be just meant for entertainment, it would also inform my audience as well, which I feel is very important.
I totally agree. In my double page spread, I made a point to have one of my feature model. I made the point to have her sort of conduct an interview where she got to directly represent herself on the page as well. And our magazine really wanted to emphasize diversity. So if you look on our culture, you'll see a female of Asian American descent. And if you look into the interior of our magazine, you'll also see an elderly male who is used to represent the Player's Guide to a Lifelong Support, which is one of the articles that is going to be included in my magazine, going back to that idea of tennis is a sport for everyone.
Oh, wow, Madison. Well, I actually included a variety of different types of dogs in my magazine to add some diversity. On the cover, even, I have a mixed breed, which is a golden doodle, which you typically wouldn't see. I also have another mixed breed, unsure of what it's a mix of, but it's definitely mixed. And I also have a variety of pure breeds in my magazine. What I particularly liked about this is that it not only adds diversity, but it helps encourage the audience to not shop, but to also adopt, and the importance of just any type of dog.
I really like that. I think a problem that I don't know if this is a thing in dog or canine or other pet magazines, but a problem is definitely in sports magazines is especially in regards to females. You'll see all sorts of Photoshop or blemishes being touched up and everything. I think our magazine is really breaking down these barriers towards female athletes by representing them in a way that shows they are more than their beauty, that they could be both athletic and beautiful in their own ways, and that doesn't have to mean a full face of makeup, and it doesn't have to mean lack thereof. That's why you can see on our cover model, she has a very simple, clean makeup look, but is also wearing a necklace. But again, very dainty, very simple, trying to make sure that people don't feel insecure about the way that they look or maybe that the way that they look is somehow restricting them from athletic capabilities. Nowadays, everyone is very obsessed with trying to be this person online that they're not, and whether that's editing their face or editing their body, it can come off as unreal, and we really want to maintain that authenticity in our thing. We kept our filters very simple. We allowed our models and other features in our magazine to really allow themselves to truly shine off the page.
I really like how you're able to keep your magazine simple, yet still elaborate on very important things in society. For my magazine, I also kept it simple as well, and I feel as though I used bright colors. I didn't use as many as normal because I wanted to keep attention on the actual information itself. What is different about my magazine is on the inside, it not only talks about things that would relate to people with wealth or all sorts of stuff like that, but mine relates to the more unwealthy.
So just like your general person.
Yes, like a normal person, not like you don't have to be like
definitely making it more accessible.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what mine was about, and I focused on North and South Florida, of course, but also one of my main focuses was women. So one of my main topics that I put in my table of contents, which I really liked, was a woman's best friend. Because typically you always hear man's best friend. Exactly.
Got it.
So like this is a man's best friend, like a dog's a man's best friend, but what about women? Because mostly like the people that buy dog magazines are women, and women are more likely like now having dogs than men, and they have such like strong, they actually have such,
know that.
Yeah, no, I was doing research, and they have such like a strong bond like with their dogs compared to they see them as their family. So I really wanted to include that because I felt as though it was really important.
Definitely. I'd like to circle back to what I was talking about images and filters in my magazine. I'd like to clarify, of course, those things were used naturally to edit and enhance photographs, but never in a way to enhance the way someone looked physically, if that makes sense, if you see where I'm coming from. But here at Matchpoint Magazine, we really hope to continue breaking these societal norms, and as our magazine continues to get more spread out and put on a wider stage, we want to make sure we're making this accessible to everyone. And this is something that was so important to the core values here at this company, that we dedicated an article to tennis for everyone, not just a lifestyle, not just these big watches or lavish courts that are with grass and we go around and we sip teas and eat bonbons, that it's a sport, it's athletic, and it takes all of these requirements.
I really like the idea that you put it so it applies to all social groups, because I also did something very similar with mine, because I did North and South Florida locations to visit, but not only were they like fancy visits where it's like, oh, you fly there, oh, you have to pay like buco bucks just to like bond with your dog. Instead, it was like free outdoor locations, which are much more reasonable for the normal person in society.
Yeah, I agree. And here at Matchpoint, we're really trying to break down these barriers, like I've said, and we hope to continue doing so. And I believe that's all I have for today. Do you have anything further to add or any further questions?
I don't think I have anything much further to add, other than that the Barker magazine really, really would look forward to spreading their magazine out there, specifically mainly for women, and making sure that people understand you don't have to be of wealth to have a strong enough relationship with your dog.
I think that's so funny because that same concept applies to sports, and as we continue to examine in our own lives how magazines and the media around us continues to break these social norms and really reinforce these ideas of authenticity and realness, I think it's important to continue looking at these things. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys ever have any questions or would like to be featured on our podcast, please feel free to either direct message the Barker or Matchpoint Magazine on our respective social media sites, and you could find more information about that in our biographies. And remember that it is always important to remain true to oneself and really just ensure that even if you feel that you aren't represented or on something like that, that doesn't mean that you're not valued and you're not the dog that you own or the way that you play tennis. It's how you are and how you carry yourself, and it's important to have these different ideas represented.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely thank you for listening, and we hope you understand the importance of breaking free from what society sees as normal. And
challenging different
conventions, yes.
Yeah. All right. So I believe that covers it. Thank you all for listening. Until next time.
Bye.